Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, my name is Leah, and here on Savvy Saute, we are going to spend less and create more. I have some recipe ideas for you that are going to cost less than the store versions, and if you're intimidated about making granola bars, don't. I'm going to show you just how easy it is here at Savvy Saute. The first money-saving thing I'm going to get started with today is some pre-portioned smoothies. That way it's easy for me in the morning, and you can get something from Great Value brand at $1.58 a portion, all the way up to Daily Harvest $6 or $7 a portion. So this is going to be much cheaper. So I have these glass jars. These are the 16-ounce ones. I'm going to use this frozen spinach that I have. It's actually spinach and spring mix, so I'm going to use that, and then some of these berries. I'm going to do probably one strawberry mango, and then I'm going to do some other berry ones as well. Making these smoothie preps at your house does not have to be so aesthetically pleasing like I have here today. I just happen to really love glass jars, and I would definitely have more in my pantry if it weren't for kids because glass and 2-year-olds are just not so great together. So you don't have to go out and buy something that you don't already have. You can use Ziploc bags. You can use Tupperware. All of that is safe in your freezer. It works really well. It's going to stack fine. Don't feel like you need to go out and buy something different. But if you want something that's reusable, I either suggest Tupperware, or I would suggest the reusable Ziploc bags that you can get. I'll leave a link down below. And then of course, mason jars, if you can find them. It's crazy right now. Everybody in the world, I feel like, is canning. It's canning season, and for some reason we have a shortage yet again of jars and lids. So anyway, here I am just going to be putting the spinach in first, but next time I do this, I'm going to put berries in first. I think it'll help get the spinach out a little bit easier when it comes time to make them, but it's still fine. You can use a straw to scoop it out when it comes time. So I'm using the antioxidant blend that I talked about here, and I'm just using about a half a cup of each kind of fruit that I choose. And one of my favorites is mango and strawberry, so I'm only doing one of those because mango is higher carb, but oh my goodness, so good. I did try these out. I just add a little bit of water, about half a cup of water when it comes time to blending them. And if you want a suggestion on a really good blender, I will leave a link down below for a video of my friend. They are talking about 2 different blenders, very popular, and you can end up choosing which one you think is right for you. The next thing I want to do is work on a new recipe for granola bars. I've never tried this before, so we're going to see how it goes. My kids love Kind bars, and I like that they have cleaner ingredients, but they can be so pricey. So this is going to be a recipe that is healthy and cheaper than what you can get at the store. The ingredients that you're going to need for this is some old-fashioned oats. I'm choosing to use pumpkin seeds, but you can use you could do some dried fruit, you could do chocolate chips or nuts or whatever, and then you need some flour of your choice, maple syrup, and some peanut butter. So we're going to start with 1.5 cups of oats. And then we need 2/3 cup of flour. And then we need half a cup of peanut butter and half a cup of maple syrup. I'm going to toss in a handful of pumpkin seeds, once everything is combined, you're going to put it into a parchment lined dish, and this is a 8x8. Works out perfect for these, I think. And then you can use another piece of parchment paper or wax paper to press down, make sure that it's all smooth and flat. And then you're going to stick it into your oven at 325 and bake for about 12 minutes. Next up is some granola, which can be pricey at the grocery store, but so easy and inexpensive at home. So for the granola, we're going to first whisk together the wet ingredients. So half a cup of either honey or maple syrup. That's a quarter cup, half a cup. And then you can use basically any oil you want. I'm going to use olive oil. It's more healthy. You can use avocado oil, coconut oil. You could also use something like a canola oil, vegetable oil, that's fine. But I am trying to stick to a little better of an oil. So here's a quarter cup. And there is half a cup total of the oil. We're also going to add half a teaspoon of salt. Half a teaspoon of salt. And half a teaspoon of cinnamon. But if you remember, I always double the cinnamon whenever a recipe calls for it. So there's half a teaspoon, 1 whole teaspoon. Okay, so now you're just gonna go ahead and whisk that all together. It smells amazing. It looks like cinnamon roll filling. So good. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is the dry ingredients. You're gonna use about 3 cups of old-fashioned oats. 2, 3 chopped pecans or almonds, whatever you want. Okay. So that's a cup. So now we're going to just combine this all together. Then we're going to go ahead and pour it onto a parchment lined baking sheet. And I like to use my new silicone baking sheet so that way I don't have to throw away parchment paper every time I cook. So here is my sheet pan that has an edge to it. So like a jelly roll pan, a cookie sheet that has an edge, and then make sure it's lined. All of this mixture onto the sheet pan. And then spread this out evenly. It is going to probably stick if you get it where any of the parchment paper is not at. So I'm gonna be careful not to. And then make sure this is as even as possible. You want the granola to cook evenly. You're just watching out for clumps. And that is my preheated oven at 300 degrees. If you haven't already, now would be a really great time to go ahead and subscribe. After 10 minutes in the oven, I went ahead and pulled out the granola, gave it a quick stir so that it would cook more evenly, and then stuck it back in for another 10 minutes. All right, so it's not going to be totally dry when it comes out. It is going to finish drying as it cools. But this has been in for 20 minutes. About halfway through, we went ahead and just stirred it up so that way it would get baked more evenly. So now we are going to just let it dry. All right, so I have a kitchen to clean, but I have homemade granola that tastes so good. I'm telling you, always double the cinnamon when a recipe calls for it. Use this instead of cereal. Put some milk on it. So good. It is so good. And I fully recognize that this is going to have more calories in it than like a bowl of Rice Krispie treats. Okay, not Rice Krispie treats, a bowl of Rice Krispies. But I don't have to worry about buying organic cereal that costs a lot of money. I can make this myself to the specifications that I want. I'm using maple syrup instead of regular sugar. This is so good, and I know that it's gonna be better for us in the long run. We're gonna be eating some really good granola. And my point is, it's going to be more filling than Cheerios, for sure. You could even add protein powder to it and bake it that way. So good. So I'm just going to use my parchment liner as a funnel, and then I'm going to pour all of this into this container for storage.
right, so I went ahead and created a recipe on my WW, calling it just homemade granola. And then I had all of the full amounts of ingredients that I used in the recipe, and then I divided it out by 10 servings. So that way I know one serving of this is going to be 7 points.
I want to put together a really quick trail mix with some leftover bits and pieces that we still have hanging out in our pantry. So this is just, you know, whatever you want to put in your trail mix.
Once the granola bars were done baking, I took the parchment paper completely out of the pan, let them cool on my counter, and then I sliced them into 6 bars with some crumbly edges off the edges. So it ended up being perfect. My kids love them and say they are just like Kind bars. So that is all of the meal prep I ended up doing today, and I hope that it was helpful or inspiring to you to try something new that your kids or yourself are going to love. Let me know in the comments below if you want to try or if you do end up trying these. And until the next video, I will see you in the comments.